were sitting in this conference room in the hospital, and Lou's mother she was kind of looking at me, and I was looking at her, and we couldn't really have a conversation. So I pulled out my phone at that point, and I pulled up a picture of my sons, and I just showed them to Lou's mom, and I said, "That's my family." And she just looked at the picture, and she just started pulling pictures out. She had pictures of Lou. She had a drawing that Lou had made her before. We were smiling, we were crying, we were just looking at our family's pictures. And I'm waiting until the doctors were coming in to let them know. They all left, and I was just in a room by myself. And then a nurse came back, and she said, she goes, "Lou's parents want you over there." And I said, "Okay." It was just, at that point, it was so important, and I think it was because we connected, but it was so important for me to see her daughter. She wanted me to see her daughter. When I got back to the hotel, one of the consulates had called me, and he had said to me, "Heather, she's gone." And I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "Lou is gone." So, I had just come back from her, and they knew her chances were pretty slim, but she didn't make it. And I got that news right before we had to head out. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave her mom and dad. I felt like they needed me, but I had to go. I had to go, and I didn't want to, though. Emotionally, I would not have been able to stay.
It's kind of an unspoken bond that you have with them once all of this is over. You'll remember everything from the minute you do it to 5 years later, or 3 years later, or a month later. You remember every detail. And, you're just so proud to be associated with people that are this caring and empathetic and just really great people.
First of all, you've got to make sure you take care of yourself. If you're not in good condition, if you're not getting sleep, if you're not eating, if you're crabby, if you're whiny, if you're thinking about other things other than the immediate incident that's right in front of you, you're not going to be successful, and you're not going to help the team, you're not going to help the passenger in general.
We have EAP on site, and it doesn't mean you're weak. If you're having a problem dealing with a certain situation, you need to seek some extra support. Please reach out.
That EAP assistance is so vitally important.
It's always important to self-care, to check in. It's important to check in with the people that you're with to make sure that they're okay, because everybody had assignments. Everybody was kind of coming and going, and you don't know what's going to trigger a stress level for somebody that you know. So you want to be really cognizant of what other people are going through. You have to know yourself very well. You have to know when your limit is. You have to be able to tell your leader when you need to disconnect. There's nothing wrong with saying you need a break and you need to take some time. And if you're able to get some fresh air, to walk outside.
Go upstairs, see what kind of dessert they got. Go take a walk. Go check the air.
It's not as easy as people think it is, because you hear about their family members. They're sharing stories, and you feel like you're getting to know that person through the stories that they're sharing.
Listening to their stories and seeing pictures of the devastation that they had, and your heart just went out to them because they lost everything.
It was still hard to detach because I still had my kids and she didn't. So I could not get past that guilt.
I think you can never underestimate how much it's affected you. It's not something, because now it's been years. I mean, I don't cry about it or think about it or cry when I think about it. But when you go back to it, you can remember every detail.
When you're going into something like this, it's a life-changing event. there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of Lou and her family. And when I look at my two boys and I think about that moment in the conference room when her mother and I were just connecting as moms and sharing pictures of our kids, it was a very special moment.
I make sure I surround myself with my family and friends when I come back.
You do need that contact with your family.
I spent a lot of time with my family, and I talked about some of my experiences, and I didn't keep things bottled up or pent up.
You feel grateful that you were able to help. You feel grateful that you're home. You feel grateful that you're on your own land. You just feel grateful to have been part of something that was so good for people.
Knowing how quickly you can have a child taken from you in a blink of an eye, it changed my perspective on a lot of things.
I thought about that week in San Francisco. I thought about the people I met. I thought about how those experiences and how those conversations in San Francisco could help me, better myself as a person, as a son to my parents. And I really just tried to get back into my own life, but yet learn and grow from those experiences.
Part of the training, I remember at one point they talked about having a conversation with your family and preparing them. And if there was something that I could do differently, that is the aspect I would change. I don't think I prepared my family, or my husband at least, as to what would be happening if I were activated.
You need to think about it. Do you really want this? Are you capable to sustain the pounding, so to speak?
You have to be flexible and you do have to be adaptable. And you got to be ready for some long hours. I mean, we would start our morning at 7 o'clock at night and we would be debriefing at 10 p.m. And that was that was every day for 5 days. That's how our day went.
Don't try and be strong just because you think that's the right thing to do. When you break down, let yourself break down and then talk to somebody about it. Everybody that's there knows what you're going through.
If you think this is going to be a celebrity type thing, it's not. This is not for reward purposes. Okay? You are committed to helping somebody. And that's what you're going to do. And you may not get told thank you.
I would say don't be afraid to care. Don't be afraid to step up. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to lean on your teammate. This is an incredible opportunity. It's an incredible team. And hopefully you never get to experience or have to experience an incident in its worst. But if you do, just know that you have the best training and that your instincts and your nature will help pull you through.